everyone. Welcome to the Jackson MiSec local meetup. Echo effect. No interesting announcements really to talk about yet besides Converge, besides Detroit still coming up. If you haven't gotten your tickets, please do. If you submitted your name to the volunteer list, you will be getting a schedule by this end of the week, FYI. Otherwise, any cons coming up? Indie B-Sides was last weekend.
It was last week.
What's coming up?
I mean,
there's other cons coming up. Yeah, nothing better than Converge. I mean, that's going to be the pinnacle of your Michigan
Converge
experience.
B-Sides Detroit.
Well, besides Gorczyca too.
That's later. That's
later. Yeah,
that's fall.
Next year.
We're just like a warm.
We're a short-term kind of people.
Okay. Yep. Anybody else have anything? Announcements? Cool tools? Things?
Pun of the day.
I'm just here to learn.
You're just here to learn?
Yeah.
Pun. Gotta open with the pun.
The pun?
The pun.
You're trying to pun here.
Insert pun here.
Wow, that was funny.
This weight is pun bearable.
I don't know if that's true.
I promise there's not that many puns in my slides because I figured Kyle would already have one ready for us, but that's what I get for trusting in him.
I might punch myself.
Oh,
Tried to make a belt from watches, but it was a waste of time.
And Dan wasn't here to hear that. That's unfortunate. We should tell it again when he gets in here. I think that would be great.
We always can.
We should just interrupt my slides to do that.
Yeah. All right, and with that, I will turn it over to our first presenter.
Yay! So, hi there. My presentation is How I Met Your Mother's Maiden Name, Social Media, and Not So Secret Questions. So, let's begin. Well, who am I? Well, I'm a security student that's got my associate in applied science, currently working for my Bachelor of Science in Information Technology and Security with a concentration on information assurance and cybersecurity. Seriously, why haven't we come up with a really cool acronym? I mean, we're all about acronyms here. So, professionally, I've been in IT for about 3 years, and unofficially, otherwise known as I haven't been paid for it for about 10 years. So let's start off with a little bit of audience participation. Let's play a game. Let's find our stripper names. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? So, take the street you grew up on. Follow it with your birth month. And finish with the model of your first car. Just take a couple seconds, Please feel free to loudly shout these out. Because what you get is social engineered. No. Oh no! I now have some of your secret questions for bank sites. So, it really can't be that easy, can it? I mean, I'd never fall for that. I mean, I'm sure some of you played along just to make me feel better.
I didn't do that.
I mean, you never make me feel better, Kyle. Let's be honest there.
About that.
But when I gave this presentation on my campus, I actually had somebody write down this information and actually almost hand it over to me. So, I mean, it's possible. It's entirely possible that someone would fall for this. But if I saw this online, I would think twice before even posting it or sharing it. Or maybe I'd post fake information. If someone was to talk to me in person, I wouldn't fall for it. Well, I'll kind of touch base on those two here in a couple seconds. So, this is what the online version really looks like. You may have seen a couple of these. It's how to get your superhero name, or how to get your zombie apocalypse dream team, or what have you. Some of this looks kind of innocuous, like shirt color. Yeah, who really cares about our shirt color? But in there is also your birth month and your birthday. So that's kind of bad.
And your favorite color.
And your favorite color. It could be your favorite color. They can give it a shot, and it might be your secret question. Who knows? Some other ones that I've seen have included like the stripper name, the what street you grew up on, your first elementary school, your mother's maiden name's first letter or some goofy nonsense like that. They kind of throw in some strange things, and if one person bites, it's really worth their time. So, but let's think about who can really see this kind of information when we post it online on social media. I mean, we've seen the like, comment, and share buttons underneath most of our posts and things like that. But who can really see it? Is it just my friends? Just my friends' friends? Is it out there in the public? Who knows? So let me show you how far that rabbit hole really goes. I was gonna use a really cool sci-fi movie to kind of put in there, but I really didn't want YouTube to tear our video down. That would have been bad. So I did this instead. Funny jokes. So this is a shared post from somebody here in the room, and he's beaming gloriously because he knows it's his post. I pulled it off of Facebook, off of my feed, and I went ahead and dug a little bit further, and in the top right there you see that little well-drawn paint square box. I clicked on photo. I also checked their page just to see, and it is a public page. So when I click on photo, I get this. It shows me everybody that's commented directly on the page. I can see who's commented on it. I can see who's liked it. I can see somebody posted a interesting video about a squirrel versus a slinky, because that's, you know, lots of fun. But there's also 573 shares. So I clicked on shares just to see how much information I can really gain from that. And I got everybody that had shared it, all 573 shares, to include who's liked their shares, who's commented on their shares, who's got information out there. So I scrolled through a couple, and I found this one that kind of caught my eye. Had a couple shares. I hovered over it, saw that there were a couple likes, hovered over the comments, and saw someone works for Samsung. So I clicked on their profile and did a little digging, and their profile's set to friends only, but there's some public information there. It shows me when he started working for Samsung, and it also shows me his birthday. So that may have been his first job, seeing as how he was born in 1990. So I now have some public information to break into his security accounts and things like that. So that's kind of fun. But really, people don't do this, do they? I'm kind of sad to say they really do. Here's a video from Jimmy Kimmel Live from 2015.
Lately, largely because of what happened to Sony, companies and individuals were more concerned about the safety and privacy of their information than ever. President Obama has unveiled a number of new proposals this week to crack down on hackers, and he plans to address this in the State of the Union speech on Tuesday. And it's great that the government is working on this, but the truth of the matter is we need to do a better job of protecting ourselves. You know, the most popular password in the United States is password 123. And as long as that's the case, we're vulnerable. So today we sent a camera out on Hollywood Boulevard to help people by asking them to tell us their password. And this is how that went.
We're talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon,
And what's his name?
Jameson.
Jameson. And where'd you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School
Oh, when did you graduate?
in 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. Have you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie. So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1.
Like my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, nice. And what year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95.
Yes.
Got it.
So you need to give my password right now? No, I cannot do that.
But we all want to know what it is so we can tell you if it's strong or not.
Oh my goodness. Let me think. Okay, one is Tel Aviv. Yeah. 4, 6, 8, and then Israel. It's only 3, but it's, you know, it's for me it's strong enough.
Ireland, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gemma. 1, 2, 3. Spelled Gemma.
Well, most of them are Italian.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
so
like what's a good Italian password?
my grandma's name,
What's your grandma's name?
Maria.
Maria. So Maria is your password?
Oh yeah, I know my password. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, the important thing is they learned a valuable lesson.
So yeah, it really does happen, and the one guy even spelt his password out for us. So,
Really nice of them.
so what options do I have to protect myself? Well, you can live under one of these. Sorry to those that don't have social media. I mean, yeah, got a couple in here. I truly do respect you for not getting caught up in this. It's a waste of time, really. But you can watch what you share. For those of us that really do have social media, you can watch and how you share your things. Oddly enough, anything on the internet can and probably will last forever. So I didn't know if you guys knew that or not. But you can change your privacy settings on all your posts, and there's a baseline setting you can set so that it always defaults to something like friends or a custom setting that you set up, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. So be aware, check your activity log. It's found in the top right corner drop down. It just says activity log. It's a handy tool. It can also show if someone's been posting under your account without you really knowing. It's a great thing to check up every once in a while. You never know who's secretly trying to get your friends to sign up for Ray-Bans that don't really exist and stuff like that. So there's a couple icons that are on there. There's a global icon that just means public. People icon means friends. Lock means only me. And the cogwheel means custom setting. So logging down your accounts, this goes back to the previous slide there. The global setting is under the Facebook management page. You can select privacy and set the default settings. You can also change all your past posts to match your current security settings. Now that you know a little bit better, maybe younger you didn't know about security, so now you can kind of go back and police him because he really wasn't that smart, or maybe he had a little bit too much to drink that night, I don't know. And then you can also create custom settings as well. You can refine these settings. There's a little drop-down box that lets you change any settings you have. For instance, I have a custom setting for acquaintances for people that I kind of know, but I don't want them to really see everything that I have to post. So I kind of block them off to hide stuff. That's why a couple of you may not see me posting a whole lot on social media. And now it's out in the open, so I got to fix that. You know, there's custom settings that you can put in there. For LinkedIn, for those of us that have more of a professional social media, there's a global setting that you can set up where it's in the top right corner. You click on your account. There's a tab that says privacy, and go in there. You can edit your profile settings, what's out there publicly and things like that. And then when you go to post, they have it a little bit differently. There's public posts, there's public and Twitter, and then there's your connections only, instead of kind of breaking it down into custom settings. Another option that you have is to educate others. I'm a firm believer that teaching others helps reinforce the information that you have. That's kind of why I'm up here tonight, to kind of share that with you, make me understand my stuff a little bit better too. It's also how good is the information that we have if we keep it to ourselves and someone we know, like a friend or a family member or loved one, ends up getting compromised. They may send you a message and say, hey, I totally found these really cool Ray-Bans that you may want to check out. How about you click this link, and now your account's compromised too because you didn't help them out in the past. So, and honestly, that's kind of why some of us got hired. We're here to kind of educate our end users to not click on those phishing links and fun social media messages. Because again, I've got these Ray-Bans that you could really, really look good in, I'm telling you. So, any questions?
Do you think it would be effective if, instead of asking to find out your stripper name, if you just made a Facebook post that says, what is your password, like and share?
probably would work. I mean, you saw them get out on Hollywood Boulevard and talk to people face to face and say, hey, we've got a video camera and a microphone, and this is going out to all of America. What's your password?
I think it's a good idea.
I mean, you can totally give it a shot.
I mean, this is more of a comment, but to that statement, there have actually been posts I've seen on Facebook like, oh, don't worry, Facebook just in the new Facebook update, they made it so that if you type your password in the comments,
It hashes it out.
block it out. And then you see comments, somebody types in like a bunch of random letters. Wait, shit, no.
Yeah, that was a common thing on online video games as well. Someone would say, oh yeah, the new update has put security at the forefront, so if you type your password in here and your username, no one's going to be able to see it. And then they catch people doing it, and they promptly log in and steal all their stuff, because why not? Why would anybody do something mean on the internet? Terrible people.
Back in the era of like rampant Facebook quizzes, there was actually one time that was, what does your password say about you? With questions, like, how long is your password? And A, B, C, or D are, 0 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 plus. And then questions like that.
Yep, I really tried looking for that one. I couldn't find it. So apparently,
it's in a blog post somewhere.
Yeah, someone decided that it really wasn't a good idea to post those pieces of information. So sometimes information on the internet does disappear. Oh. Anyone else?
No.
Well, all right. Awesome. Thank you all for having me here tonight.
And our next speaker. Hello, guys.
Good thing I brought my laptop.
I don't want that lovely static going on anymore.
Yeah, safety first. Good move. Wait before you connect.
What we really want to know what his background is.
Or how many characters his password is.
Awkward.
In case you're curious, that is the Falcon from Jackson County that lives around here.
It's a Falcon.
No, not the awkward one.
Does the Falcon have a name?
I believe so. I don't know what it is.
Next time I do a talk, my background is just going to be a big picture of Gomez's face.
You missed the potato. The potato icon was there. That's what you get for showing off late.
D10 T's.
What's your password?
Well,
Is it Gemma?
my username starts with a 1, so my password starts with an I, naturally. You know that hackers sometimes swap letters for numbers.
Never knew that.
Go. All right. What's up, guys? So my presentation is called InfoSec versus Idiots. It's on the relationship between users and the information security community. This presentation might not be exactly going the way you think it is. So a couple things to note. First and foremost, I've not been in the industry too awful long. I graduated from college not long ago. I've had a little bit of experience working in the field, but it's not extensive. I have done security awareness presentations before. One of them was for an organization as like an actual part of their security focus, and 2 of them were volunteer for the public. I've also sat through a security awareness presentation at the organization I currently work for, and it sucked. And it wasn't done by our organization, so that makes me feel better. This the phrase "this is meant to educate, not offend" is just kind of generic. You know, I'm not going to educate you guys necessarily, but generally the idea is some of the things say you guys might disagree with. So, and then that brings us to the next one. My doctor said getting beat up is not good for my health. So if you disagree with me, please keep that in mind. So our relationship with users, well, we do not like them. We've got tons of colorful phrases we like to use to describe that. You know, 1D, 10T error, errors between the chair and the keyboard, you can't patch stupid, you're too stupid to own a computer. It's very interesting. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the story of someone called, you know, the help desk, and because the computer wasn't working, and it turns out there was a power outage. The guy yelled at them and told they were too stupid to own a computer. I actually found that on Snopes.com, and that story is mostly true. The only thing that isn't true about it is they actually didn't tell them they were too stupid to own a computer. They did the right thing and politely informed them that computers rely on power. Even though they really wanted to tell them they were stupid, they didn't. So kudos to them. But in general, we don't like users, and we often let them know that. Well, the reality is they don't like us either. I love that cartoon. I saw it one time. I laughed out loud. It's starting today, all passwords must contain letters, numbers, doodles, sign language, and squirrel noises. And you know, even being in the security field, I think we can all relate to that. Sometimes it gets kind of irritating. And there's the quote from Dave Barry, you know, user noun, the word computer professionals use when they mean idiot. So I think we can kind of tell that users don't really like us either. And one thing about that cartoon made me think was it is kind of interesting that even though in media we are, you know, computer security is kind of popular, like TV shows like Mr. Robot and whatnot, we also tend to be kind of a laughingstock sometimes too, especially because some of the things we've done in the past, which even if they were about valid concerns, like when Conficker was hitting the web, they were talking about how it could bring an end to the internet as we know it. It turns out nothing happened, so we kind of looked like idiots, even though it may have actually been a legitimate concern. So the relationship between users and information security is kind of strained. So why is it like this? Well, on our side, making fun of users is fun. I do it a lot. I like telling stories about users, you know, in help desk situations that's completely crazy. Like the guy who somebody actually kept a potted plant on top of their computer tower and they were watering it and they couldn't figure out why their computer stopped working. So those are fun stories. I mean, it's fun to talk about. It's hilarious. And there are, in fact, stupid users. You know, go back to the power outage story. Some people are just kind of dumb. And users do cause problems. If they get a phishing email and they click on a link, download malware, it's going to cause a lot of issues with the network, might spread to other people. It's a giant problem. Security is impacted. You know, we could have to pay fines if sensitive information gets leaked. So they do cause problems that we have to deal with, and dealing with users can be frustrating. Example, my dad's company has to use a laptop for, you know, so once in a while to do diagnostics for, because he does repair on industrial machinery. Most of the time it's just by hand, but sometimes he has to use a computer. And for a guy who does not use a computer, doesn't really like them that much, is annoyed by them, his company for some reason decided to get him a Windows 8 laptop. Yay! So I get to deal with that a lot, helping him, which I don't mind. But you know, when someone doesn't know anything about computers, it can be kind of frustrating dealing with them. So there's that. On the user side, why don't they like us? Well, we make fun of users. We just discussed how we like laughing at when users make mistakes. Well, no one likes to be laughed at.
We're a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, no one likes to be laughed at. Who wants to be the butt of a joke? You know, if you're part of the joke, that's one thing, but you know, when you're constantly making fun of somebody, it kind of makes your relationship kind of difficult. And we kind of expect a little too much from users, I think. We have years of education and experience that they do not have. So to assume that they would know the same things we do off the top of their head is kind of ridiculous. And we make it hard for users. A lot of the security controls we put in place are difficult to deal with. They're necessary, so I'm not arguing that we should stop. but if you have to change your password every 6 months to something and we keep a password history of 20 passwords, it's kind of difficult. It is hard for the users, and we have to not eliminate that, but just take that into consideration when we're dealing with them. And we do tend to yell at users when they make mistakes. If they click on a link in a phishing email and you walk into their office and say, I can't believe that, I told you 100 times never click on links in emails, you're an idiot, you just jeopardized the whole company. That's not going to make them feel very good, and they're probably never going to willingly go to us again. Unless their computer stops working, they're not going to let you know there's a problem. And this can impact our efforts on security awareness. We don't like them, they don't like us. I've heard this so many times where people say that training users is completely useless. There's always going to be one user who clicks on a link, and no matter how hard you train them, they're never going to learn anything. And that's really stupid, in my opinion, because you wouldn't take the same approach to patches or firewalls. You're not going to say, Microsoft makes patches, but there's some 0 day they'll miss, so why even patch? It's a waste of time. Yeah, we're all about reducing risk, so I'd rather the risk be lower. Users kind of hate our presentations sometimes. I got positive reviews on mine, but everyone who came was a willing attendee. It was optional, so that kind of changes your scope. And then about them learning stuff, well, would you learn anything about fixing cars from a 1 hour a year presentation on being a mechanic? If you sat through 1 hour every year and then your car breaks down, you're not going to know how to fix it. Accountants don't expect us to know accounting questions, so why should we expect users to know about security unless we actually effectively teach them and not just give them a lecture? And then back on the training users is useless. Well, here's a comparison if you have some users who still will click on the link even though they've been trained versus no training, what that might look like with a game you've probably played before. So which network would you rather have? The trained group or the untrained group?
Untrained group kind of looks fun.
Because if I'm the attacker and I'm trying to find a mine to set off in your network, on the one side, all I got to do is send a phishing email. Odds are pretty high I'm going to get something. On the other side, you might actually have to hunt to find a user who's going to click it. They still exist, but it's going to be a little harder to pick up. So just wanted to throw that out there. So how do we change this? I'd start by saying I personally think we need a little bit of an attitude adjustment. We need to be nicer. I personally am not going to give up making jokes about users contacting help desk, but just a little bit nicer, especially when talking to them. Be patient with them, realize they don't have our experience. And I say connect with the users. When I say ask for their help, like in presentations, obviously they're not gonna dictate what we teach them, but we can get their input on how to present it to them. Do they want 1 hour lecture? Do they want videos, hands-on interactive kind of stuff? See what they want. Make the presentations more engaging, because I've sat through some and they are exceptionally boring. And once a year training obviously just isn't going to cut it. We can't rely on lectures once a year to get us what we need. We need to actively teach them if we want them to know anything. And I've said this several times in presentation, but they do not have our education or our experience. They're not going to know that kind of stuff. They're not going to know off the top of their head. There are obviously some more steps, but I don't have all the answers. So, and it's going to be different for every organization. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Probably just some comments, but probably some of the best training I've seen for end users in general that aren't tech savvy is doing your either quarterly or more often doing that training.
Yeah.
And making it easy on them. So if they, for example, phishing email, if they click on the phishing email, it instantly takes them to training and walks over the pieces of the email for why they screwed up, or not screwed up, sorry. Why they fell for the phishing email.
Why they were so dumb.
They were so dumb, and they put big arrows at and point. But it gives them an opportunity to analyze what they did on that. That works pretty well for phishing.
Yeah, I found humor in the presentations makes it more engaging. If you find a way to make it funny, not at their expense, that helps.
I noticed a lack of cat pictures in your presentation. Is there any comment on that?
I don't often put a lot of pictures in my slides for some reason, but
It's not for you. It's for the users.
that's true. Cat's like typing on keyboards.
There's
The
actually.
cat knocked the camera off his table. And
Yeah, but that's the internet's full of cat pictures. You gotta find them. There's good stuff.
Comment on some of the things. There was one organization that I knew of that did a phishing campaign within their own network, and they took one of their pre-crafted emails and turned it into a phishing email, and then when you clicked on the link, it said, "Congratulations, you've been phished. Now you have a 1-hour lecture at the end of the week. Congratulations." It's almost like walking around with a dunce cap saying, "Well, congratulations, you messed up. You're on the security team and you didn't know this was going out." So
And
it
then
doesn't look good for you, it doesn't look good for the users. So
and there was example one time I was in a presentation at a conference. I can't remember who was giving it, but there was an example where information security is don't click on links ever. And then there was an actual letter they sent to employees for some survey that was necessary to the company where they actually wanted them to fill it out, and they sent a link in the email. So they just did what they told they're telling you now you have to do the thing I just told you not to do. It's kind of a mixed message.
and in a lot of cases, the people that click on the links, they're there to serve customers or clients. They're trained to kind of trust their clients and work with them. If someone says, "Hey, here's that document that you asked me for," they're going to click it. They're there to get a sale. They're there to assist the customer. They're going to click it. That's what they're trained to do. So it's kind of hard to untrain that.
I heard of a hospital once that sent out required HIPAA training to all users, and it was a security team sending out a phishing campaign. It was like an 85% click rate.
Yep.
So
The
that's
first
the
time
organization
Jackson ever ran a phishing campaign, it was 87%.
Yeah.
I think it's 87% of the users, not including the security team. That's just like end users and like the broker dealers and stuff like that. And since then, it's gotten a little bit better. And then we used a different email and got worse again. And like, oh, they just recognize the email. But so we've been kind of working with it, and it's one of those things where how ours is set up is if you click like the first time that you click the phishing link, within the week you're usually sent another email saying, "Hey, if you want to come to this training, we have short meetings twice a month that it's just for the phishing tests and stuff like that. Show you, more in depth. Like this is some of the stuff that you can look for. Not all links are bad, but this is what to look for. The link that could potentially be malicious, stuff like that." And so we try to make a little more in depth training, but and then users won't show up, and then we go, "Okay, so you've clicked the link 6 times now. You have to come to the meeting," and that's kind of how that turns out. But it seems to work. But
Yeah, and then the education on like what to look for in links is good. Like one thing a lot of people always say is don't open attachments. Well, no business function can ever be performed without opening something. They're gonna send you attachments all the time.
Yep.
Here's the email, here's the document you need. It's an attachment because that's the best way to transfer documents. So to have blanket rules, you can never click on a link, you can never open an attachment is stupid because by default you have to do that at some point. So you're just gonna ignore the rule completely. This tends to be the case. So.
And open the bad ones.
if they send the evil bit, don't open it. Only open the jar files. That's right.
Well, and attackers will send things where it'll say that it's a bad, don't open this. So they do that all the time. Yeah, exactly.
It says RU.
Awesome job, man. Any other victims?
I secure zipped it, put the password in the email, and it was an Excel file with a macro on it.
I have a USB port.
What? It's what you request is not. You have to resubmit it.
I guess that's all we got for tonight, then.
Unless you want to talk, Chris. Wow.
That's fine. I can just like end the stream and I can
Yeah, we can totally do that. For everybody that's been streaming online, thanks for attending the Jackson MiSec. We'll see you next month.
What am I talking about?
Wait, what? I was telling the online streaming.
No.
Because you don't want the stream. Jeez. You know, you tell me one thing and then everything.